Episode 3. A Dangerous Truth. The firelight flickered across the stone walls, painting shadows that seemed alive, stretching, curling, breathing with every crackle of the flame. The air was thick with smoke and pine, earthy and damp like the mountain itself had swallowed them whole. Celine sat curled on the cold ground, arms wrapped around her knees as though holding herself together. Her heartbeat still thundered from the chase, from John being pulled away, from waking in this cave with a stranger whose intentions she couldn't yet read. Fear clung to her like a second skin, but beneath it ran a sharper, quieter current. Curiosity. She glanced toward the fire again. The flames danced in a rhythm that felt ancient, primal. The warmth barely reached her bones, but it gave her something to focus on. Something other than the boy sitting across from her. At last he spoke. His voice was calm but firm, carrying the kind of confidence that didn't need to shout. It startled her, yet steadied her at the same time. "My name is Zane Whitlock," he said evenly, eyes glinting in the firelight. "And this is my home." Celine blinked. Home. She turned her head slowly, really seeing the cave for the first time. It wasn't just stone and emptiness. Shelves carved into the rock walls held jars of herbs, lanterns, and carefully wrapped tools. Animal pelts lay folded in neat stacks, softened by use. A pile of firewood was stacked with geometric precision. And on one wall, drawings, rough sketches scratched in charcoal, faces, landscapes, fragments of memory. There was a rhythm to it all, a logic. Even the placement of the blankets and the way the fire pit was rigged with a smoke pipe. Everything had purpose. This wasn't just survival. It was life. A world carved out by steady hands and unyielding patience. Her eyes flicked back to Zane. His hood was pushed slightly back now, shadows half hiding his face. He was striking. Handsome in a way that was rugged, unpolished, but impossible to ignore. His dark brown hair fell in loose strands around his temples, slightly damp from the mist outside. His jaw was sharp, his cheekbones cut with an almost noble edge. But what caught her most were his eyes. One steel gray, piercing and cold. The other hazel, warm and alive. Heterochromatic. Strange, beautiful, dangerous. And though the hoodie he wore concealed most of him, the fabric couldn't fully disguise the sculpted build underneath. Broad shoulders, chest hardened by years of climbing the mountain, arms marked with scars he kept hidden. Strength coiled in him like a predator at rest. Zane noticed her gaze but said nothing. Instead, he leaned back, his eyes reflecting the fire. "My father built most of this," he said quietly. "He taught me how to hunt, how to make fire, how to stay alive when the world doesn't care if you do. When he passed, I stayed. This place, it became mine." There was no sadness in his tone, no weakness, just truth, carved sharp as stone. Celine's gaze drifted to the charcoal sketches again. One looked like a woman, strong jaw, kind eyes. Another showed a mountain trail winding through trees, and another, a boy, younger, with a hood pulled low. Something in Celine softened. The edges of her fear dulled, replaced by reluctant admiration. She lifted her chin slightly. Her voice was small, trembling, but she forced it out. "Celine," she said. "Celine Thorne." The name dropped into the cave like a stone into still water. The air shifted. Zane's eyes narrowed almost imperceptibly. He knew the name. She saw it in the way his jaw tightened. Her throat constricted. "He knows." "You know why they were after you, don't you?" he asked, voice low, steady, but carrying weight. Celine's lips parted. She wanted to deny it, to feign ignorance. But the truth pressed heavy in her chest, demanding release. "The Thornes. My family. We're known in the business world," she began, voice faltering. My grandfather runs everything. When he's gone, either my mum or my uncle will inherit." Her fingers curled into her palms until her knuckles blanched. "My mum is kind. She's smart. People love her. But my uncle," her voice cracked, "he's cruel. Ruthless. He'll destroy anything in his way." She swallowed hard, the words tasting bitter. "If someone arranged this, if John was taken, if I was dragged away, then it must be because I'm a thorn. Because I stand in the way of what he wants." Silence fell. The fire popped. Shadows twisted. Zane stayed quiet, letting her words echo against the walls. In her mind, her mother's voice whispered as if from far away, "If you are ever lost or taken, don't run. Don't fight. Stay put. Hide. I'll find you." Tears welled in her hazel eyes, threatening to fall. But what if she can't find me this time? Zane's voice cut through the rising panic, steady and unshakable. "If that's true, then going home would be a mistake. Your uncle's people will be waiting, and if they find you, it won't end well." Celine's chest tightened. "So what do I do?" "Hide," Zane said. "Here, in this town." Where they'd never think to look, Celine blinked at him, confused. "Hide? How?" He tilted his head slightly, a flicker of a smile tugging at the corner of his lips, though his eyes stayed sharp. "You'll need to change everything. Your appearance, your habits, even the way you walk." He gestured to her hair, long and golden, gleaming in the firelight. "For one, you'll need to cut that hair. And blonde? Too obvious. We'll dye it darker, brown, maybe black. Ordinary." Her hand flew to her waist-length hair, silky and luminous. People always noticed it first. It was her crown, her identity. The thought of losing it twisted her stomach like a knife. But she knew he was right. "And," Zane added, his gaze unwavering, "you'll have to blend in. Go to school, with me. It'll be easier for me to watch your back there." Her head snapped up, hazel eyes wide. "School? But I was homeschooled my whole life." His mismatched eyes locked on hers, sharp and unyielding. "Then it's time you learned. It won't be easy, but it will keep you hidden. And I'll be there." Something flickered in her chest. For the first time since her kidnapping, she felt more than fear. A dangerous, exhilarating flutter stirred within her. Half terror, half thrill. This wasn't just survival. It was change. A chance to disappear, to start again. Her lips trembled, but she managed a whisper. "All right, let's do it." The next morning, dawn painted the mountains pale gold. Mist clung to the trees, rolling down the slopes like ghosts. Zane moved with quiet efficiency, packing his backpack and dousing the fire. His every gesture was precise, practiced, like someone who had been surviving alone for years. Celine stood nearby, hugging her arms against the cool air. She felt small, fragile against the vast wilderness. But there was something else, too. A spark of resolve beginning to burn. She was about to step out of the cave, out of hiding, out of the life she had always known. Zane slung his pack over his shoulder and turned to her. "Ready?" Celine's pulse quickened. She nodded. But instead of leading her out the front entrance, he moved to the far wall, past the sketches and firewood, toward a narrow crack in the stone. He pressed his hand against it, sliding a hidden latch. The wall shifted. Stone scraped softly against stone. A tunnel opened. Low, dark, winding. Celine's breath caught. "What? This way," Zane said. His voice carried no hesitation. Thanks for listening to The Quiet Binding. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you'd like to support the story, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thequietbinding. Every little bit helps keep the episodes coming. New episodes drop every Monday and Thursday, so stay tuned for the next episode of The Quiet Binding.